Morena, haere mai. After walking about yesterday, I feel that this is my workshop about the first urban great walk of Aotearoa. Perhaps it's a model for a city near you. And I want to say that I wasn't the one who said it was better than the El Camino. I do, however, want to shift the narrative a little to a deeper meaning of walking than just getting from A to B and one foot after another. We all searching for meaning in our lives and meaning in our journeys through pilgrimages, hikoi, shinrin yoku, deep time walks. Yeah, so surely, attractiveness, whole system approaches that we heard about yesterday goes beyond safety and efficiency. We need to slow down, breathe, watch the world evolving around us, build ecoliteracy through legible landscapes that reflect our layered histories, including biodiversity, feeding, placemaking, well-being, identity, and moving into stewardship, kaitiakitanga. Bringing people and nature together on this 140 kilometre heritage trail. So quickly acknowledging the support that we've had from Rotary, from Forest and Bird, from Canterbury Horticultural Society, Ihutai Mana Whenua, who've supported us and or sponsored us through these times. So the basic facts are 140 kilometre walkway, 2.2 kilometre elevation, not all at once, encircling Aotearoa. Cycle-friendly options exist. You can run it in about 25 hours, I believe. It joins existing paths and pearls of the Tiara. The route features more than 20 different kind of habitats and over 4,000 species along the way. Showcases great beauty and history, embraces all our natural and many cultural historical features. It's already an award winner. Thank you for that Golden Foot Award. And it was actually conceived back in 1991, of all things. Lots of walks between then and now, officially launched during the Walking Festival in 2015. Inspired by successful overseas examples and cultural landscapes, the London's Capital Ring Walk, the Pennine Way, there's me on Hadrian's Wall, by the way, and of course lots of accounts of unforgettable walks and ramblers through the English countryside, and the Appalachian Trail, the El Camino, and New Zealand ones, Te Aotearoa, Great Walks, Banks Peninsula Track, and so on. And these are all sort of parts of those, components of an eco-city and biosphere reserves here in Spreewald, incorporating walking and cycling and having a little bit of a cafe experience as well. So I'm going to sort of whisk you through now, hold your hats, 12 days and 3 minutes. A bit of a collage. We've got sort of hang gliders hovering, we've got hills and bush and harbour and cliffs, bits of bush there. We've got historical gun emplacements and kiwi batches and wild oceans, skinks slithering through the grass, and wonderful sort of panoramas of a more rich-looking city than a boring flat one than we often portrayed as, ending up with a latte beside the 360 beach. And beginning the next segment, there were sort of 8 segments, or perhaps a dozen if you do one a month for a year, with restored beaches and people enjoying it in their different ways. We've got shorebirds and estuarine birds and the iconic Cave Rock at Sumner there. The Ferrymead Park of the first rail line in the country, and the Mahingakai Park. And of course estuaries are always such wonderful experiences, very sort of soothing and paintable, featuring here a couple of inveterate solo walkers from England, actually. Maybe that says something about that English heritage. And they just sort of keep doing it, keep going around the city, a bit like Meg here, who tells me she's running it all the time. The estuaries, and so around the edge of the estuary, the towpath track and screen meditative coastal bush, keeping the Godwit safe, I might add, and that sort of moving into the next segment, the dune wetlands, atmospheric moment with the sort of waka appearing, slipping through the fog, and that regal kind of kotuku there on the other bank. Into the largest wetland in urban wetland in the country, Travers, Aotearoa, with the eels sort of scrambling over each other, rare birds, and even sculptures and poetry. It's what it's all about. And we can contribute to that understanding of the nature as we go through the iNaturalist app, sort of learning some of those 4,000 species and contributing to citizen science. The dune wetlands, the sort of drier part of it, into the sort of pine forest, but still lots of lichens and fungi and ferns and orchids there, onto the beaches, running down the Mount Rubbish slope with great joy. And then into the next section, the Brooklands mouth, at the mouth of the Waimakariri River, more estuaries, people sharing their kai and sharing their knowledge, birds, plants, solitude, and then the sort of mutual admiration society. The alpacas are always there waiting to greet you, among all of the other experiences around you, which keep sort of changing, and the fungal forests under the pine trees there, the ducks scrambling around. Those vertical pines into the next section, the Avonhead Gardens, coming back into the sort of into the city proper, and onto from the vertical to the flat savanna woodland plains with orchids and mosses. Garnering a lot of interest, I might say. People scrambling around their knees there, looking at those little tiny plants. Even the gorse hedges apparently attracting, or is it the sculptures there, or the surveyor's posts? Perhaps it was the bracken in the hedges there, the fires of Tamatea, the Piwaka Waka kept following us around. Into those more sort of classical garden city imagery of sort of coloured flowers and coloured skies, but noting the importance of biodiversity even in these manicured gardens, both planted and also wild, interestingly. And how can we go past that amazing experience of our layered histories in Putarangamotu? Riccarton Bush captures all of the history of Aotearoa in that one location. But grab your ice axes. We're going over the main divide between the Opawaho Heathcote catchment and the one we're just leaving behind, the Avon Otakaro, and a bit of a deja vu into the English countryside experience of the chapel there and the sheep grazing peacefully in the mountains in the background. Into Horswell with young people there enjoying the konini, the coots, the birds, the fungi, and the horoweka, and to the edge of the plains at Horswell Quarry there. With the restored bush, and the getting back up onto the brim of the Port Hills after the history of the quarry, the amazing panoramas of the harbour and the skies, the magic of the Port Hills, the ancient tūtara and matai of the historic bush that is now sort of in a secondary phase. And looking out across the plains, with wonderful vistas there in all directions. And as we kind of reach near the climax of this circuit, we reflect on the holistic experience that we've had. Our Chinese friends there under their ginkgo tree. Rude Kleinpass sharing his insects, under the shadow of the lichen boulders and the misty maunga. There was always, though, the joyous people accompanying us on this last walk that I did, all the way around. It's such a wonderful, exhilarating experience to share this, to share the village. And it's kind of a holistic, revelatory, transformational experience. Who knew that we were the 11K Koremako wildlife capital? So here it is, the Christchurch 360 Trail. Oh my God, everyone wants it. Everyone thought it's already done. And yet the irony is that Seattle, Gainesville, Chinese cities may actually copy it before we get our own act together. So the focus has often been around, tourist hotspots, but Aotearoa in your city can be that. We can grab all of this and define it each in our own way. All cities are rich centres of globally unique nature and interwoven culture. So we can spread the load and promote slow regenerative tourism, market all Aotearoa as a total walking experience, long or short, a culture shift that builds ecological and sense of place and literacy, not polarised with mountains of nature way in some remote distance and urban deserts around where we live. We need to build that wider eco-city context of biophilic, holistic, national park cities, more urban wild. Enjoy the rough grass and ferns and things growing out of the cracks in the pavement. Maybe this is Aotearoa Te Tao. Kia ora.